Raise your hand if you ever looked at your phone while driving, even if it was just for a second, because I know I have. Okay, so everyone. Maybe it was just to answer a text, change a song, or even just check the GPS system. It seems harmless because it's only a few seconds, right? But those few seconds can completely change someone's life. Distracted driving caused by handheld cell phones is one of the biggest causes of preventable crashes in the United States. Even though most of us know it's dangerous, people still do it every single day. That's why I think federal governments should require every single state to adopt and enforce the same ban on handheld cell phones use while driving. Today, I'm going to talk about 4 things. First, why distracted driving is such a serious problem. Second, why the law we have now aren't really enough. And third, the policy I think should be put in place. And finally, why that policy would actually work. Most people don't realize how much using our phones really affect us while we're driving. When you pick up your phone, you're doing 3 things at once. You're taking your eyes off the road, at least one hand off the steering wheel, and your attention away from driving is completely gone. Even if it's only for a few seconds, that's all it takes for something horribly to go wrong. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, distracted driving causes 3,275 deaths in the United States in 2023. That's over 3,000 people who didn't make it home because someone wasn't fully paying attention. And it's just easy to hear those numbers and move on and go about your day. But if you really think about it, every single one of those people had a family. They had friends, they had coworkers, and they had people waiting for them to come home. Behind every statistic is someone's son, someone's daughter, someone's parent, or a best friend. Researchers have found the same thing. According to Richard Squint and Peter Hancock and some of their fellow colleagues in accident analysis and prevention, texting, dialing, or using a handheld phone greatly increases the chances of being involved in a crash because drivers spend too much time looking away from the road. Another study by David Strayer and William Johnston, published through the Transportation Research Board, found that even talking on a cell phone slows reaction time and makes it harder to notice things happening around you. So even if you think you're a good multitasker, research says that our brains really aren't built to drive and focus on the phone at the same time. So, we already know that it's dangerous. Why is it still happening? One big reason is that our laws are all over the place. Every state has different rules about cell phone use while driving. Some states only ban texting. Others ban holding your phone completely. And a few states still don't have strong restrictions at all. That creates a lot of confusion. Imagine driving across state lines on a road trip. The law can change without you even knowing it. It also makes it harder for police officers because the rules aren't consistent across the board. Research backs this up too. According to Russell Volati, David Kidd, and their colleagues, whose work is cited by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, states with complete handheld phone bans generally have better results than states who ban texting completely. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety also says that when laws aren't enforced consistently, drivers are less likely to take them seriously. If people don't think they'll get caught, they are more likely to keep using their phones anyways. So instead of having 50 different sets of rules, I think we should just make one clear national policy. My proposal is pretty simple. Congress should require every state to ban handheld cell phone use while driving. Along with that, there should be higher fines for repeat offenders, stronger enforcement, and public education campaigns to remind people that distracted driving is so dangerous. The good thing is that this isn't some unrealistic idea. A lot of states already have laws like this. A nationwide policy would just make the rules the same everywhere instead of having every state decide on its own. And research shows that this works. According to Fernando Wilson and Jim Stimpson in the American Journal of Preventative Medicine, it states that with comprehensive handheld phone bans have lower driver fatality rates than states without those laws. In other words, stronger laws actually save many lives. Those states also report fewer drivers using handheld phones behind the wheel. That tells us that when the rules are clear and people know they'll be enforced, behavior starts to change. Of course, passing a law doesn't automatically mean that the problem is solved. A policy only matters if people actually follow it. The reason I think that this policy is going to work is because it would eliminate confusion. Everyone would still know that the same law is there when they're driving. It would also make enforcement easier because police officers wouldn't have to deal with different laws from different states. Most importantly, it would reduce crashes. According to Ying, Hu, and Gua Li and their fellow researchers, stronger penalties and consistent enforcement reduce handheld phone use while driving. Multiple studies have found that comprehensive handheld phone bans are more effective than weaker laws that only focus on texting. Right here I have two visual aids. The first visual aid is from 2019 to 2023, and it shows each year the fatalities due to crashes from people being distracted with phones. So here we see that in 2019, it's 3,119, 2020, 3,154, 2021, 3,521, 2022, 3,315, and 2023, 3,275. So it continued to go up and only dropped a little bit over the years. And then here's another graph. So the green is the hands-free laws, which are already in place in 30 states, including Washington, D.C. The 4% is there is no handheld phone ban, which is only in 2 states. And then the yellow is the text-only laws, which is in 18 states. Now, I know some people might say this policy takes away from personal freedom or that it's simply to enforce. I understand those concerns, but we already have laws that limit what we do while we're driving because they protect everyone else on the road. For example, we have speed limits, we have seatbelt laws, we have laws against drunk driving to protect other people. Most people agree those laws are necessary because they do save lives. I think banning handheld phone use should be viewed the exact same way. It's not about controlling people, it's about protecting them. So today, we've talked about why distracted driving is such a serious problem, why our current laws aren't enough, what a nationwide handheld phone ban would look like, and why research shows it would actually work. At the end of the day, this isn't really about phones. It's about us as people. It's about making sure more parents make it home to their kids, more friends make it home to their dinner, and more families don't get a phone call that changes their life forever. The next time your phone buzzes while you're driving, ask yourself this question: is whatever on my phone really worth risking someone else's life? I think we all know the answer to that. Does anybody have any questions?
So this is like a very interesting topic. So like, why did you choose this topic?
So I decided to choose this topic because I feel like everybody rides in a car every day and everybody uses a car. So I feel like it affects us all. And I also think that driving and using a phone and being distracted is a very preventable problem. And so I just felt like I wanted to talk about a solution that can actually save many lives that shouldn't have been lost in the first place.
Okay, so I have another question. Why do you think a nationwide law is better than letting each state decide?
Yeah, so a nationwide law would make the rules the same everywhere, so that would prevent confusion. So like I used in my presentation, I said that when you drive across a different state law or a different state line, you don't really know that the law changes for cell phone use. And so this will totally eliminate that, and this will prevent that, so that the law is the same nationally. So every single state you go in, it's the same law, and you know it and you're familiar with it.
Okay. I have a question based on this. So I don't try to use my phone, but in my car I have to use like GPS and stuff.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
places. So like, what would happen if somebody needed to use GPS and like it wasn't like in their car system?
Yeah, so most handheld phone bans still allow drivers to use GPS as long as the phone is like mounted or like used somewhere like without you having to use your hands, whether it's like on the dashboard or whatever. The goal is pretty much just to prevent people from holding their phones while driving, not to like totally prevent and eliminate navigation. So that was a good question.
Okay, I have another question. Like, do you think, like you personally, like, do you think higher fines would actually stop people from using their phones?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's fair to say that they would totally eliminate and prevent them, but I definitely think that they would help, especially for people that continue to repeatedly get fines. I think higher fines, along with education and consistent enforcement, can encourage people to think twice before they continue to pick up their phones. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's fair to say that it'll totally eliminate them. You know, we're human, we all make mistakes, but I think it'll definitely prevent them.
Okay, so my next question would just be, why do you think texting while driving is so dangerous?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a pretty like obvious one. Texting while driving is obviously dangerous because you take your eyes off the road, your hands off the wheel, and then your attention is completely gone from driving. And all of that happens at the same time. And so like even you just looking down for a few seconds, that could lead to a small accident that, you know, can completely change your life, someone else's life, and it's just super dangerous.
Let's see, let me read this. Okay, basically one of the things I like wrote down as a question while listening is just like, do you think this law would completely stop distracted driving, or what do you think the effectiveness of implementing this would be?
Honestly, no. I don't think that it would just eliminate distracted driving completely. But like as I was researching and as I was really looking into this topic, I found that the research shows that it can reduce it. And even preventing some crashes and like saving lives. I think just even saving fewer lives than some that were lost, like anything that could save a life, definitely. Any policy is worth trying and worth implementing, and I think that it's just an idea, and I think that I could definitely see this being implemented into the future for sure.
Okay, I have another question too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, this topic is really good and like it affects all of us. So
yeah.
Like when doing your research, like what was like the most surprising fact you found?
I'm glad that you asked that because there was one that really stuck with me. So the most surprising fact that I found was that distracted driving actually causes 3,275 deaths, and that happened in 2023. I'm sorry. And I knew that it was a problem, but I didn't think that this many lives were being lost, and especially in a year, like that's pretty insane. And so I just thought that fact was also like just really sad, but it just goes to show that like you picking up your phone even for a few seconds can completely change your life and someone else's. So
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Thank you.